In this episode, I'm going to start renovating the house, and I decided to start with two projects. Obviously, the house had many projects that I wanted to begin, and I was really excited to do many different things, but you just have to pick a project and start. Join me on my adventure to renovate an old house in Japan. Two of the major projects that I'm going to be starting with is first the ceiling. The second floor has a ceiling that will be demolished and ripped down, and the idea is to open up the ceiling and have an open ceiling style house. It's kind of like an old style house, so it has a really beautiful high ceiling, and the woodwork of the big tree beams, it really is a beautiful style house. Here in Japan, the ceilings are kind of low, and it really feels kind of restricted and drab and dark. Of course, as you will see, it's not exactly for the faint of heart. It does take a lot of effort and time, and you have to think about all the rubbish and trash that it's going to create, as well as just the labor that is involved in such a project. This is going to be the first room I start. This is the back room here upstairs. I might try to do two rooms. I turn off the power, so hopefully if I hit anything, there's no power going through it. Just trying to be careful. I got a face shield here and some eye protection, as well as some gloves, a hat, and a respirator. Let's have some fun and start smashing things. Yeah.
The ceiling was very weak and fragile. There was not much to ripping it out. All you really need is a long crowbar and a good swing, and you can dislodge the pieces right out. But like all things that seem easy, I'll soon learn it doesn't just finish so quickly as expected.
That was my first night here in the house. Yeah, it was a rough night. I think normally I always have a problem with sleeping in new places. As you can see, here's the aftermath of day one. Today's raining. Not really nice weather to do anything outside. I am not looking forward to cleaning this up, but I'm gonna do my best to break down all this board and make sure that it's all bagged up and cleaned up so that I can continue moving forward. The other project that I'm going to be working on is tearing down a wall that is in the hallway. Again, that's upstairs. The upstairs hallway is a type of hallway that is very tall and it's very narrow. There's two walls, and my idea is to tear down one wall so that it will allow more light into the hallway, as well as give a little bit more panoramic view. Upstairs has a really great view of the mountains and the ocean, and I think that having so many walls upstairs is kind of constricting that view that you have. So the idea is to kind of pull down one of those walls or maybe a few other walls as well and try to give it a little bit more panoramic open view. Start now with the demolition of the hallway wall that's on this side over here, plastered with like a mixture of sand and mud and looks like just grass and hay and things like that. So I can't wait to use this thing. It's gonna be awesome. Whoa, it's super heavy. What it is just, you know, just a saw. And we're just gonna go in there and just start cutting down the wall and then just boom. Here goes nothing. All right. Wow. And this is gonna be super messy. And that's gonna make a big mess, but it is what it is. Just put the drill saw in there and just cut across. And what I'm trying to do here is knock down this wall, but I'm not gonna knock all of it down. I'm actually going to keep some of the wall up until about this area here, kind of as a railing. As you can see, that's the stairs going down. So it'll have a railing all the way around. I'm gonna tear down the top part so that you can have kind of like a panoramic view. When you're in those rooms, you can look out. I think I'm gonna make it about 90 centimeters, and I actually don't have a I don't have a marker or anything to mark this, but I think that if I go about 90 centimeters, it's gonna be about right here. You can look over, but not necessarily fall down. So I'm gonna mark it here. Level here to make sure that my line is straight. I'm just gonna check my level and then match the lines there. I'm using this as my marking tool just to scrape down the wall. All that, boom, boom, boom. And we have all our markings here. So we are ready to cut. This one just doesn't cut. Well, that's making a mess, but we kind of knew that, right? So let's have a look. Oh wow, yeah. So they use bamboo. I'm gonna have to use a different type of saw blade. So here's the wall. You can see the wall design. There's some pretty heavy duty wood here in between those main studs. It's got this is actually a really nice wall through it. So this is kind of typical that you would find in an old house. And the idea is open up these walls and you'll be able to look out the window at all the rain. Actually, I just noticed this is kind of a nerdy thing to say, but it looks like I created like the Star Trek symbol. Is that actually correct. At least that's what my memory serves me correct. I've been cutting with a metal bit, and it doesn't seem to be cutting it. I have to go to the hardware store and actually get a dismantling saw bit so that maybe it'll cut through this stuff better. I didn't really pay attention to the saw bit that I was using, but you can kind of see the interesting design that they used here. It's really cool, actually. Pretty neat old style way of doing construction. I pull down these beams here. I know that might look pretty scary if you cut through something like that, but you have to understand that something like this is not a load-bearing beam. This is actually just there to hold the actual wall in place. But I can show you. This is the beams that I'm cutting through here. This is the main beam across the house. Those beams are the ones that you see kind of exposed there, and they keep going all the way up. Those are load bearing. But if you look at this one here, obviously it's thinner, but also you can see that it's nailed into the actual stud here to keep it in place. But this is not a load bearing beam. You can kind of see the same thing there. It goes all the way to the top, and they just nail it to the bottom of that just to keep it in place. And that's to give the wall a little bit more structure. You can even see that these really annoying bamboo things go all the way to the top as well. You can see my saw. It actually completely destroyed the teeth here. Almost flattened them. And you can see there it's a lot more teethy. But yeah, for metal. So whoops, I'm using the wrong bit. It sure did a lot of mess for such a small little hole. Really. As you can see, the stairs are just a disaster already. So you can imagine the rest of this coming down. There's really just one reason to do these projects, and that is, honestly, is just aesthetics. I want to make the upstairs as beautiful as possible, and I personally like open ceilings, and so I think that pulling down the ceiling is really going to enhance the beauty of that upstairs area. And it's a daunting project, to be honest. Tearing down walls and ripping down ceilings is not something that I envision doing.